We have with us here this morning, joining us on the program, Jen McManus, who is Provincial Director of the Canadian Red Cross here in Alberta, joining us on the program. Hi, good morning, Jen. How you doing?
It's good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks so much for being able to join us on the program here today.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot coming up here next week. Starting May 3rd, Emergency Preparedness Week happening here in Alberta.
Absolutely. It's a big talking point in the province for sure, given the events of last spring. So I'm on to hopefully convey a strong message of asking individuals and families to prepare themselves with their own emergency preparedness plans.
And, and especially people have last year fresh in their mind with the situation of the floods down in southern Alberta, something people probably didn't expect that was going to happen. But never knowing what course Mother Nature is going to take, we have to be prepared in situations.
Absolutely, Wally. You know, the one thing about natural disasters is that they don't distinguish between socioeconomic status. They don't distinguish between postal code. They can hit anywhere, anytime. So this is a really important reality that as community members, we need to be mindful and aware that we need to make our own plan to become resilient and build our own capacity.
What type of work is the Red Cross Emergency Preparedness doing here in the province to get all of us ready in situations like this and things that we really need to know?
Well, a few things. Our disaster management team in the province is doing outreach initiatives in communities to raise awareness about household preparedness. This interview in and of itself is an outreach event because I know that your listeners span the entire province. And one of the things that the Canadian Red Cross is asking individuals and households to do is to make a plan. And that plan entails a few things. Be prepared to sustain yourself for at least a minimum of 72 hours with drinkable water, non-perishable food goods, medications and specialized medical equipment if you need access to that, and have a plan to connect with loved ones. You know, make sure that you know where you can locate your valuable documents, key phone numbers, especially a plan for children or vulnerable people in your household, i.e. seniors or even pets. You know, sometimes we forget that when we have to evacuate or if we're separated, that we need a plan for our pets as well. So there's some key things that we can do to mitigate the stress and reduce the overall stress on the emergency services providers in communities when we're under a state of emergency.
And you had mentioned people that, can be vulnerable, people with special needs as well. I mean, families should maybe even talk to doctors and find out need, for that person and their family with special needs that they will need in case of a situation like this.
Absolutely, Wally. So we're asking community members to do almost an inventory of their community or their direct community to know, are there seniors in the area that either emergency responders need to be aware of, or can you check in on seniors in your community to make sure that they are prepared? Really, it's a cliche, but it takes a village. And if you know your neighbors and you know also how you can connect that social fabric, it also makes the response in a natural disaster a lot more seamless and stressful. So simple things of even knowing that your next door neighbors may have a mobility issue or small children, then you can indicate that to first responders.
Yeah. With the situation now, I mean, last year we had the big spring flood, and then again we're at that time of year where the snow's melting away. We're getting the extra moisture that's coming down, which could cause, places to flood. Are people tend to be more on edge after what had happened last year around, especially now?
Oh, absolutely. I've been out in communities that were impacted by the floods last spring, and anxiety is high. So this is where it's really important to make sure that community members enact their own resiliency plan, because it allows them to feel empowerment. And that has a huge impact on the mental state of a community and the mental state of a family. So the more information and the more empowered households can be about their own preparedness plan, it actually reduces the anxiety because you're not sitting waiting to be reactive. You're actually being proactive. So yes, anxiety is high. The Canadian Red Cross is working with Alberta Health Services to support communities who have been impacted by the flooding of last spring. And, I urge people to make sure that they're reaching out to either the Red Cross if they're still struggling with their own personal recovery in flood impacted areas in southern Alberta, and also to reach out to their community. There's many social service networks that can be enacted when communities are feeling anxiety or stress.
Emergency Preparedness Week, that is coming up. That's going to be running from May 3rd until 9th. That's usually the first week of May. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So, and the messaging for the Red Cross is that we are responding to more disasters, Wally, than ever before. We have assisted more than 4 times the number of community members this year when we compare to our statistics for last year, or 2012. So we know that severe weather incidences are increasing, and those severe weather events are impacting more people. So really, individuals and households need to be proactive and devise their own preparedness plan and increase their own personal resiliency.
Now, with the Red Cross as well, they do this emergency preparedness work with communities as well. Is Siksika one of those communities that is taking part in one of these events as well?
Yes, I believe Siksika is actually doing its own preparedness event this week. And I've been working with Chief and Council to ensure that the Red Cross is engaged with preparedness work on the nation. We are supporting the Siksika Nation for their recovery efforts, working in conjunction with their recovery management team. And our caseworkers have been assisting households and individuals for personal recovery assistance. And then moving forward, I would like to be working with Chief and Council to be part of a longer-term emergency plan for the nation moving forward into the next year, because we know there's still lots of recovery happening on the nation, and it's been a challenging 11 months, and the Red Cross is dedicated to be there for the long term.
That's right. As you mentioned, work is still being done from last year, and then people already starting to maybe get a little worked up about this year, because here we are again with the spring season and the melt upon us. You mentioned ready to go kits. What should people have exactly in these kits to have handy in case situations should erupt in their area?
So, Wally, some great ideas to plan for part of your plan is have key contact information, cell phone numbers for relatives, so that you can fan out communication and be in touch with relatives. One of the things we saw last spring that was very distressing is that family members couldn't locate each other because when evacuation orders came down very quickly, community members fanned out. And so having those numbers, really key. Make sure that you have your mobile handheld device charging, the cord to charge your phone when you leave, non-perishable food items, water, manual can openers, flashlights and radios. Having a reserve of small bills, cash. When cash machines go down, if there's a power outage, it can be very stressful. So having the ability to access food, to access money, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Special needs, dentures, optical wear, medicines or prescriptions, goods for babies. That's the one thing that we did see last spring is that a lot of individuals didn't have just the basic necessities because they had to leave so quickly. So diapers, wipes, baby formula, etc. And then having a plan for your livestock or for your animals. That also was really key for last spring. So making sure that you have a plan for livestock.
That's so true, because we tend to focus on ourselves, then sometimes we forget about our animals that we have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also making sure that you have special documents. A lot of us store things in our basements, and wills, birth certificates, passports, any documentation with regards to investments and banking information. Having that documentation out of your basement is very key, and to make sure that you have it in a location whereby you can access it quickly if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And also having a safe word for children. One thing that is really important is to have an evacuation plan for children, so that children are with people that are safe and they know, and to make sure that you have a plan for small children. It's really, really important.
Yeah, and these ready to go kits really should be suitable for that person and that family's needs, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. So, given the composition of a household, the demographics, etc., families know best. The Red Cross really, from experience, families know best and what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
So, those ready-to-go kits are going to be tailored to the needs of that family. The other thing, Wally, that's really important is if there's ceremonial or cultural sacred items, to make sure that those are in a safe place and that they can be accessed quickly. One of the heartbreaking realities of last spring's floods were that a lot of regalia and cultural items were damaged in the floods. And, those are passed down generation to generation. So making sure that cultural regalia and sacred bundles are in a safe place that can be easily accessed in an evacuation.
Yeah, that's right, because those, again, something that is just not replaceable. And we've heard so many stories, like you said, last year about, families losing, things that just could not be replaced.
Absolutely. And those, you can't put a dollar value on those cultural items.
No.
We know that some of them, for the two nations that have been impacted in the Southern Alberta floods, some of those items have been refurbished, but that's a very specialized and painstaking process. And, if we can avoid cultural items being destroyed because of disaster, that would be a win culturally. And it's part of our heritage, and I think it's very important.
It is. We're speaking with Jen McManus this morning, Provincial Director of the Canadian Red Cross here in Alberta. Now, we mentioned those ready-to-go kits. Actually, there's pre-packaged kits that people can get as well to maybe sort of help them start their own kits there within their communities or their families.
Yeah, there's a couple of tools actually that I'd like to tell the listeners about. We actually have a preparedness and first aid app for your handheld devices.
Okay.
You can download that app from the Red Cross website, and that's www.redcross.ca. And actually, there's a landing page, Wally, on preparedness for the general public. So I really highly encourage individuals to check out our website and to check out the preparedness section, because it's very comprehensive, and it gives individuals some ideas of what they can do in preparation for a disaster. And it's in your motor vehicle, it's in your home. We have to be flexible and be prepared on many fronts. So there's some ideas there online.
And where could people go to online to get all this information there, Jen?
So the Red Cross website, again, is www.redcross.ca. And you can also purchase preparedness materials from our website as well, in the shop section. And it's very affordable. And I myself have a preparedness kit in my car and in my home. One of the things about having small children is that it does open your eyes to making sure that you are prepared for anything that comes your way. So if listeners would like to go to our website, I highly encourage it. And also, if there's a Red Cross representative in your community, we are located throughout the entire province, Wally. So I'll give you the locations of our offices. We're in Grand Prairie, Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge. We have staff in the Wellness Center, in Standoff on the Blood Reserve, and I think I've got everybody. So please reach out to your community Red Cross office if you have further questions. And online is very comprehensive and really easy to access.
That's right. And then also, stay tuned to your local stations, because you can always get the update there when you hear the emergency alerts as well, because they do happen in situations like Southern Alberta last year?
Absolutely. If there's one other little message I'd like to disseminate is please listen to your local officials. It's very important to abide by evacuation orders. Being prepared is one phase. Responding to the evacuation notices are very, very important. For those that choose not to listen to evacuation orders, it places a tremendous amount of stress on the first responders network. So please listen to the local officials. They know the risk mitigation. They know when to flip the switch on an evacuation. So it's really important that we listen to those officials.
Okay, Jen McManus, the Provincial Director of the Canadian Red Cross here in Alberta. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here this morning. We greatly appreciate it. Again, Emergency Preparedness Week is coming up May 3rd to the 9th here in Alberta.
Thanks, Wally. I appreciate it.